Hey there, David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I train final expense agents to become top producers. Thanks for watching. That actually is the conversation point or topic of this video that I'm doing today, which is giving you an idea of what to look for if you're looking for a final expense trainer. So I've got 7 points here. Let's just jump right in and start covering each. So the first thing is experience. If you're interested in selling final expense, it's absolutely vital you find a trainer who understands experientially how to sell this stuff. The problem with the insurance business writ large is that many of the people that are recruiting, that are putting ads up, that are getting in your face about their so-called opportunity, don't know how to sell squat. In fact, many of them have never sold the first policy. So make sure when you look at a final expense opportunity that you do your research. In fact, just ask questions. What's your experience selling the field? How many policies did you sell in your best years? How many agents do you work with? What's your programs like? How do you feel about selling final expense? These are all good questions to ask that a good, experienced trainer will be happy to answer. If you begin to hear answers to these questions that kind of sound like they're irritated or they give you some non-specific crap answer, run for the hills. It's not a good deal. Number two, good communication skills. So here's the thing that throws some people off sometimes, and I've learned this being first a producer in the final expense business, but also someone who recruits and trains agents. The top producing agent sometime in final expense is not the best recruiter or trainer. They end up not being able to connect to their agents. There are endless stories of really good producers who thought that they wanted to build an agency just to find out that they hated the idea, in their words, being an adult babysitter. So for some people, the business is not good when they're recruiting and only good if they're producing. So many times you need to make sure that you test somebody's communication skills. You need to see how they engage in a conversation. Are they more interested in talking about themselves and how great they are versus asking you questions and listening to what your concerns are? How do they treat and deal with agents who are having difficulties? Are they taking time out of their day to take calls, to take your calls, to listen to your concerns, to try to help you? A good final expense trainer has a passion and a heart for their agents. You will not always get somebody who is a top producer who will have that. So make sure that you find somebody not only with experience, doesn't have to be top experience, but who also has a passionate spot in their heart to help you out to get up and running to be successful. Number three is a matching personality. So I think a lot of success in selling or I should say recruiting and training final expense agents, at least in my experience, is that I connect with people who match my type of personality. And I think that's true for any, is that we have to focus on what we want as a manager or trainer or whatever in our agency and try to appeal to people that match that. Good organizations understand who their target market is. This is kind of the same type of conversation. And what you should do as that target market is make sure that particular trainer matches who you are in your values as best as possible. Of course, you won't always know everything, but there is that kind of underlying chemistry that should be there where you feel good about this person. You feel like you connect with these people. Because if you have a connection with your coach, trainer, whatever, you're going to want to work harder to please them. You're going to be able to work better with them. If you have a trainer that is totally opposite of you, that you don't get along with, and you've got a different life story, and there's not a lot of the same, the relatability factor is going to deter into your relationship on some level. So a matching personality is pretty important. Number four, reachability. Okay, so here's the thing I learned early on. Much of success in working with a final expense trainer is the ability to reach them to get your questions answered. You shouldn't join an organization that doesn't pick the phone up or doesn't reply back to you in text messages or emails. Open communication is really important, and timely communication, especially in the beginning when you get started. You will have more questions and more concerns getting started than you will long term. So work with a final expense trainer that respects that and will pick up his phone, reply to your text messages, and be available to help you. That makes a big difference. If they're not reachable, then you will see that you will struggle. It'll be very frustrating. Number 5, they should have an agent focused first and foremost. So I think a good thing you should see is that trainers that help new agents in final expense should have some field experience relevant right now, meaning they're out there producing, not necessarily full-time, but here and there, and they're willing to take agents out on ride-alongs to show them the ropes. But they shouldn't be doing their business first and foremost. Their whole lifespan should not be focused on their personal production, even though they should, in many cases, a newer final expense trainer who's starting to build his agency will still be in the field full-time. But he should make room to help anybody that needs the help whenever they need it. Not instantly on the spot, of course, but within a reasonable amount of time, within the same day at the very latest. So, yeah, a good trainer is going to do that. When I first started training agents in 2014, 13, I was working full-time, 5-6 days in the field. I took calls between appointments. I did consultation calls at the end of the day, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, 6, 7 a.m. in the morning, because I was passionate to be available to help my agents. And you have to be that way if you want to keep the people that you recruit. If you don't do a good job, and I'm talking to you guys recruiting out there, doing this stuff, and you drop the ball on the basic stuff, you're going to lose people. People aren't going to spend time with people who don't appreciate them being around. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you, the agent, are putting food on the table of your upline. I, as a recruiter, don't make any money till you sell. And if you're not going to facilitate that as an agency trainer, final expense trainer, why should you work for that person? At least that's how I think. Number 6, short and long-term opportunity. So here's the thing that a lot of agents jump in and do, and they don't think through, because this is a level of not being rude here, but being ignorant. You just don't know what you don't know. So a lot of opportunities look good, and they may be good for the short term, but they tie you down really bad in the long term. For example, there are organizations that will train you, will have face-to-face training. All this stuff is good in order to get that in the short term, but in the long term, your commission levels are really low. You're not vested for a number of years, and you're put in a position where you cannot grow, and you're stuck with this organization. You wouldn't know that looking into it, especially if you're new, because these are all like things that you learn as you have experience, or if you're lucky enough to run across my channel as you get started. So what you should be looking for and questioning is, what is my short and long-term opportunity? You certainly in the short term want training, coaching, access to a sales and marketing system, and have somebody who's willing to help you, show you the way. But the long term, you should also be making sure you can maximize your commission opportunity. You should know that you can get a release if you don't owe any money, so that you can grow your business elsewhere if you happen to outgrow your agency. And you own your business. You're 100% invested from the first day. You should be, at least, so that you can maintain the business that you've built out of your own financing, as many of us do. So consider both. Ask those questions when you're looking at a final expense trainer to make sure that they're going to offer this to you. And last but not least, this is my preference here. It's not something that's absolutely the case with everybody, but I prefer a final expense trainer to be an independent trainer. And what I mean by that is, I think it's important to involve yourself in the final expense business in an independent fashion. Some people think that training and coaching is absolutely crucial, and it is. The problem is that if you go work for a captive company, or a company that enforces you to work with one carrier, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. And you're also going to lose a lot of sales to other agents that come behind you, like me, who are an independent agent, and can replace your inferior coverage, either if it's on price or on lack of underwriting. So if you're an independent, if you're involved in an independent agency, you get to avoid that stuff, not completely, but those issues are much lessened. And so it allows you to maximize your income, maximize the sales, and maximize the number of people you can help in the best way and shape possible. Having multiple carriers, that's what it means to be independent, at least in my mind. To serve your clients is going to earn you more. It only makes sense, right? Because not every carrier is going to be the same. They're going to have different price levels, different underwriting, and no carrier can serve all your clients the same way or the best way. You've got to really have multiple carriers do the best job by your clients. So that is my perception as a final expense trainer on what you should be looking for in an ideal final expense trainer. And if you'd like me to become your final expense trainer, it's very easy to learn more about how to do that. Go to davidduford.com, click Join Dave's Agency, and there you'll see all sorts of information on the different sales and training programs I have, especially for the final expense business. And then if you like what you see, we can set up a consultation time and talk more about working together. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and got some value out of it. And David Duford logging off. Go to davidduford.com to learn more. Y'all take care.